Welcome to Kitchen Counseling. I'm Chef Tom. I'm your motorcycle riding holistic chef. Now today I got a really nice holistic recipe for you. This is my Thai soup with essential oils. Yeah, you heard that right, with essential oils. So my essential oil friends, you're gonna love this one. This one is super tasty. I've done it for some events. I actually did an event at a holistic Chamber of Commerce in Murrieta a while back, and we did this soup and it was just amazing. Everybody just loved it. So we're gonna go through all the steps of this soup and just play it all out. I got a couple different things we're going to do right off the bat here, and then I'm going to come back. We're going to actually go through the recipe for you and show you all the stuff that's in it. So first of all, I have a little side thing I call my perfect basmati rice. We're going to put some basmati rice into this soup. So we're going to do the steps for the rice right now so you can kind of see where we're headed, and then when we come back, we're going to do all the ingredients for the soup on the stovetop. So we're going to start on our stovetop here. And what I've done is, let me spin this down so you can just see what I got sitting over here so I don't have to move it. Over on the side here, I've got 1 cup of basmati rice that I have rinsed several times and now, drained it, and then now it's soaking in some water. And we're gonna soak it in that bowl of water for 30 minutes. So that process has already been going. I got about 10 minutes left to go on that. Then we're gonna throw that into a stock pot, one that you can actually put into the oven, okay? So you don't want one with plastic handles and things like that. You want one that you're gonna cook it. You're gonna put 1.5 cups of water into this pot with the cup of rice. 1 cup of rice, 1.5 cups of water. I know it's not exactly 2 to 1, which you're used to for rice recipes, but this is a really nice way of doing this one. 1.5 cups of water. We're gonna bring that to a boil, give it a little stir with the rice and everything, then we're gonna cover it. Okay, so then once it brings to the boil, we're going to cover it up, and then we're going to stick it into our oven. All right, so I'll probably use some foil over the top to make sure we got a nice good seal on the lid here, and then we'll go ahead and stick it in the oven, and we're going to cook it in that oven, 325 degrees. That's what's heating up right now, for 30 minutes. We're going to bake that for 30 minutes. When it's done at that 30 minutes, we're going to bring it out of the oven, and we're going to just leave it on the stove top for 10 minutes, undisturbed. Just leave it alone, 10 minutes, and then we'll fluff it up. And then we're going to, by that time, we'll have all of these soup ingredients together, and then it's going to go into the soup. So it's going to be a really nice addition to it. So that is my perfect basmati rice recipe. And we're going to finish those things up. I'm going to get all the soup stuff prepared, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about the ingredients for the soup and then putting it all together. All right, we'll see you in a few. Bye. We are back. Okay, so what we've done up to this point is we have rinsed our rice, and we boiled the 1.5 cups of water. As you hear the little clicking going on here, I'm going to put you down here. We're going to do the rice real fast here. So I'm going to get my 1 cup of rice. It's been drained now. I'm going to put it into the 1.5 cups of water, just like so. I'm going to give it a little stir, and we're going to bring this back to a quick boil. Now this is not going to take very long. There's only a cup and a half of water in here, so this is going to happen pretty fast. Once this comes back to a boil, I'm going to put some foil on top of here. We'll throw the lid back on top of it. We're going to throw it into the oven, and we're going to bake it for 30 minutes. So now, while that's going, this is what we got going next. We got our 2 tablespoons of butter and a pound of shrimp. And we're just cooking those up to nice and pink, as you can see here. So we're going to turn this off. We're going to get these shrimp out of here. Go ahead and throw them in a bowl so we can actually use this pot here. And I'm going to use a little bit of that butter juice there. Okay. So we're just going to set the shrimp off to the side because that's going to go in later. Okay, you can see over here, we're already boiling again. All right, so we can turn this off. I'm going to throw some foil on here real quick just to give it a good seal. Like that. We want a nice seal on it so it steams really nice. We're going to throw our lid back on here. And then we're going to throw this into the oven. Again, we got our oven set at 325. We're just sticking this back in here. I'm going to set a timer now. We're going to go ahead and set the timer now for 30 minutes on here, because that's going to be our rice. So while this is cooking, is when we're going to do everything else. All right. So now we're going to head on over to this pot. We've got our little bit of butter juice in there. We're going to throw, I'm going to turn this back on. I turned that off. All right. So now we're going to throw in, we've got 1 onion. And we got 1 red bell pepper. And then we're going to throw in a couple cloves of garlic. If you're using the minced garlic like this, it's 1 teaspoon. And then we're just going to cook this for a little bit. You know, we can cook this maybe 3 or 4 minutes just to kind of start getting things tender, getting the onions to, again, get translucent, get soft, start cooking the red pepper to give it a little bit softer. You'll start smelling the garlic coming out. So about 3 or 4 minutes here. And then we're going to throw in our ginger. And we got 1 tablespoon of fresh ginger. And then we're going to cook that for about another minute. So that's going to be this step right here. It's just kind of sauteing all this good stuff down. What's really nice about this recipe is that once you get the rice going and you get it in the oven, the rest of this process takes about the same time. So while the rice is cooking, you got everything, you're getting all the other ingredients together. There's a few minutes here and a few minutes there, and you're going to see that as we go through, and we're going to finish up, and it's going to be boom, we're done. We're going to have soup, all right? So we'll be back in a few minutes. I'll throw the ginger in here, let it cook for about a minute, and once we get all that done, we're going to come back and we'll start in the next ingredients, and that's when I'll actually go through the full list of what's in this recipe. I want you to see some of the steps first before we start talking, because there's a lot of ingredients in here, and people sometimes can just be like, whoa, that's too much. So I want to show you how easy it is and how it's just one step at a time and just little bite-sized chunks. Okay, we'll see you in a few minutes. Bye-bye. All right, we're back. Okay, so we have now sauteed or sweated our onions and our red bell peppers so they're nice and soft. We did those for 3 to 4 minutes. We then added some ginger, the 1 tablespoon ginger. We cooked that for a minute. Now it smells awesome. I'm going to go ahead and throw you down here so we can do our next bits. So now here's our ginger and onion, garlic, and red bell peppers. So now we're going to throw in 2 tablespoons of a red curry paste. And we're just going to incorporate that in here for about a minute. Get it kind of mixed in with all the veggies. All right, so we're going to let that cook for a second. And then what we're going to do is we're going to whisk in our coconut milk. And we're going to have 2 cans of coconut milk. And I use an unsweetened coconut milk. We're going to do 4 cups of vegetable stock. So I just got 1 little container here with the 4 cups of vegetable stock. And then we're going to put in our essential oils. So I'm going to grab those real quick. And I'll go through each one of these as we do it. We got 3 different essential oils we're using in today's recipe. We have 2 drops of the black pepper, 2 drops of the lemongrass, and 1 drop of the ginger. So let's go ahead and get some of this liquid in here. And then we're going to end up cooking this all down for a little while. So let's go ahead and add our coconut milk. So here's 1 cup, or 1 can of it. Let's go ahead and get it all kind of incorporated in there. Nice, just like so. I have another one that I actually had to use a few tablespoons of, so I got it in a little deli cup here. So there's our 2nd can of coconut milk. Let's go ahead and see if we can get all that good coconut milk in there. That's good. Just like that. Just like that. Awesome. So we got our coconut milk in here. What's nice is our rice is still cooking. We're doing this at the same time as the rice. We're going to put it in our 4 cups of vegetable stock. Let's go ahead and whisk that in as we go. Okay. And then finally, we're going to put in our essential oils. So we are going to use a black pepper essential oil. We're going to do 2 drops. Be very careful putting this in. It runs pretty fast once it starts to drip, and it's very concentrated. So you want to just put two drops in there. There are techniques on using this. You can actually drop that into like a spoon in case you get too much, so you don't put too much in it. That's a nice technique to use when using essential oils. We're going to use some lemongrass. So we got an essential oil, 2 drops of the lemongrass. Now this one also is very quick to run, so I'm usually very careful with that. The lemongrass is strong, but it's not quite as overpowering as the black pepper. So if you got an extra drop in there, you'd probably be okay. Too much of the black pepper will definitely ruin the recipe. And then our last one, we're going to add a little bit of ginger. Now we've already put some fresh ginger in this recipe, so we're just going to put 1 drop of ginger here. Whoops, I got 2. Just to punch it up a little bit. Okay, so there's all our liquids. We're going to bring this up to a high. I'm going to bring this to a boil now. All right, so there we got our base. So there's our base for our soup. So now we're going to bring it to a boil. Once it gets to the boil, we're going to reduce it and put it on simmer, and we're going to just thicken it a little bit. So that's going to take about 10 minutes or so. The nice thing is we got 19 more minutes on our rice before it's ready to come out and then sit for 10 more minutes. So we are going to be ready. By the time that rice comes out of the oven, all this other stuff is going to be done. The soup's going to be ready. We're just going to be adding shrimp and rice, or lime juice and cilantro and all that stuff at the end. And then we're going to have soup. So it's going to be coming up really quick on you. All right. So let me clean this up. I'll come back. We'll actually run through the recipe while this is cooking, and we can finish it all off. All right. See you in a few. All right. We are back. Okay. Our rice is done in the oven. It cooked for the 30 minutes, it baked for the 30 minutes, we took it out. Now it's been sitting, resting for 10 minutes. We're gonna open it up, give it a little fluff, see how it looks. Our soup base with all this good stuff we put in it already has been cooking and thickening during this time frame. I just turned it down to a simmer, let it thicken up. I just kind of let it go as long as I needed for this other stuff, so it ended up working about 15 to 20 minutes, and it's a good consistency. You can play with that because you don't need a super thick. This is not a super thick soup. All right, you just want it to thicken up and meld all those ingredients together. So at least 10-15 minutes to do that. I think I did 15 to 20, and this is where we're at now. So now we're gonna put it all together. This is the final step. We're gonna put the rice in with the mixture of the stock and all the goodness that we had in the big pot. We're gonna add the shrimp in, and we're gonna start warming that up, and we're gonna add some cilantro and add some lime juice. And then we're just warming that all up together, so it's gonna take a couple minutes and then it's done. So let's spin you down to see what we got here. So we're back over to our rice. There we go. Let's see how we got here on the rice. We're just fluffing it up. Yep, all the water's been absorbed. All nice. We'll just let this sit for a minute. Get it all nice and fluffy. Break it up just a little bit. Sorry about that. And we're going to add our shrimp in. So we'll start adding all of our ingredients. Now here's our soup mixture here. You had it on simmer now for a while. This is all of our stuff. This is the onions and the red bell peppers and the garlic and the ginger, the coconut milk, the stock, the red pepper or the red curry paste. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to put in our rice that we made. Dump all of that in there. Give it a little stir. You can see how it's kind of mixing all in. Nice. We're going to put our shrimp back in. Now the shrimp we cooked already. So again, we're just warming this up. Don't need all that extra juice though. Let's just get the shrimp. There we go. So we got our shrimp now in there. We got our rice in there. And then I just cut up one lime. And we're just going to squeeze some juice in it. Now you can use lime juice from the can and all that, or you can do this squeeze ahead of time. I kind of like to do it on the spot. That way I can kind of see how juicy the limes are. And if I need to add a little bit of lime juice because you get a dry one or something like that, then you can make that adjustment real easy right now. These are nice and juicy ones here. I don't think I'm going to need to add anything more than what is in this one lime. Alright, and then we got a couple tablespoons of cilantro. It's going to give it a nice look to it. There we go. Give it a stir. And there's our look. That's what we're looking for. Look at all those colors popping out. This is a very pleasing soup to the eye. And then once you taste it, it's just amazing. I'm going to grab myself a little tasting spoon. We're going to taste it because the one thing we haven't done is we haven't added any salt and pepper. I did that on purpose because I wanted to get all the other ingredients in here and get a nice flavor on that. I want to be able to taste everything else. The lime, yeah. The garlic and the ginger. Now I can just adjust it with a little bit of salt and pepper. Sorry, I gotta do this old school way. Hate these shakers. Just don't work for me. There we go. Give it another little stir up here. Another little taste. That's really all it needed. And then you're going to garnish, you're going to put it in a bowl and you're going to garnish it with a little bit of cilantro sprigs and maybe a lime wedge or something, make it look nice and pretty. As far as the salt and pepper goes at the end there, you know, you're starting small. You're just putting a little bit in, you know, a teaspoon or so, and pepper a little bit less because it's, you know, maybe half a teaspoon to start, and then taste it. And then if it's not quite what you want, just add a little bit more. You can do this 2 or 3 times. Get it to the flavor that you want. And that's starting small, building up. You go too big too fast, it crashes. All right, start small, build it up. All right, so that is our Thai soup with essential oils. If you enjoyed what you saw today, please like us on Facebook, send us a message, say hi, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We also do a lot of streaming through KP Media TV. You can check all their info out at the end of the show, find out where we're streaming to. Remember my 4Fs, family, friends, fun, and food. And we will see you on down the road. Have a good one. Talk to you later.